I just felt them pulling away just a little bit, and I was thinking, I'm, you know, not yet. You're only 10 and 9, not yet.
From my point of view, when we first went through it, I was dead against it all the way, I think. But then, as we've gone on and our children got older, I realised it's more for our children than for the birth parents. You do the letter writing anyway, but
I do the letter writing,
yeah. Now.
They've just done their first one.
And they go off to letterbox, but
it's only with the siblings. It's not
with the birth parents. It's for their benefit. It's not for me. And it's certainly not for the birth parents. I still don't think they
well, they actually returned the letters, which, you know, that really hurt me on behalf of the children, because I mean, I found the letters to the birth parents very difficult to write.
I think when you go through the training and assessment process, contacts seem, you think of it as being easy and a really good idea. And as time goes on, when you have your children with you and they are your children, you perhaps become a little less keen on pursuing that, because your duty is to protect your children. But I think it's absolutely in the interests of those children to encourage some form of contact and an ongoing life story work as much as you can. And for us, that the most obvious thing is letterbox contact. So I write an annual letter that is sent to the relevant adoption agencies. And I'm actually writing it for my children. They're quite generic newsletters of a recap of what's gone on in the past 12 months. And my aim is to put those into a book so that they have a chronology of their life through those years. And I try to include a few little anecdotes about things that we've done during that year, or and I keep it fairly bland. I don't put anything in that would identify as too much, but I think that I'm able to share with the birth family a very positive account, so that should they choose to access it, they can receive some comfort from knowing that the children are okay.
Yeah, it's a bit bizarre, really. I mean, it's sort of like, well, thanks for your child, and by the way, this is what they're doing, essentially. But then I thought, well, actually, no, it's my child. Yes, you gave birth to it, but at the end of the day, I'm looking after it, after her. And it was just bizarre. It was quite emotional, actually. I was like, you know, saying, oh, she's taking the first step. She enjoys playing. She enjoys animals. And it was a bit like, it was almost like I was writing to my wife about it, whereas I was writing to the birth mum. Because my wife said, well, write it as if you're writing to me. How would you explain that? And I thought that's quite a nice way of putting it, because I want her to sort of feel the fact that, you know, she's given us our child, essentially. I want her to know that we're looking after her, you know, to the best of our ability. You know, we're giving her the life that you wish you could have given your child a life. So, and then that's what's important for us. We want to give her the best life possible. But obviously we didn't hear anything back from her, so for every reason. So, but yeah, it was quite a tough ride, that one.
I think it's also important for the siblings, because there's 7 of them in total. We've got 3. There may be more now, we don't know. And, you know, they're ranging from sort of, I think it's about 12
up
to
the
the youngest,
something.
up into early 20s. And we know that they've tried to find the kids. So it's obviously important to them that the kids are safe and loved, and you know, we've done that. I think
as long as we've made the effort,
and that's what.
So our kids can see we've made the effort.
Say that,
and I think one of the other things as well, they got quite excited when they were sort of relearning, as it were, about their siblings through the life story work. Because it's always been, it's an open conversation in our house. They can ask us anything about the past, and we will always be truthful about anything, no matter how, you know, uncomfortable it makes us feel. And both of them, it's our middle daughter and our son, both of them asked if they could see them. And they seem really, really keen. And we were told that
it's not allowed.
Yeah, they decided it wasn't allowed because the others were older. They're still in foster care and
they're still
leaving
in contact
foster care.
with the birth parents.
But what surprised me, because I was sort of thinking, oh, this is quite a difficult one, and it did make, I felt it a little bit. I don't know if it was jealousy, I'm not sure what it was, but I felt a little stab of something, because it's almost like I just felt them pulling away just a little bit, and I was thinking, I'm not yet. You're only 10 and 9, not yet. And but as soon as I sort of said, well, you can, but you've got to wait until you're 18, the relief on their faces, it was almost as if they thought they had to. But it was enough for them. It's enough for them at the moment to know that they can when they're older.
I'm finding it hard to talk to my children about how many siblings they have, because they both have lots. Some are adults, some are children. It's very hard to even begin that life story work of telling part of the story, but then they're not ready to hear the full extent of it.
That they ask for what they're ready to hear. That was a really important thing for
and it
us
comes
to
up
hear.
at the weirdest times. You're just driving along. Oh, by the way, and you're like,
How many brothers and sisters have
right,
I got?
okay.
Just answer the question, and then before you know it, they've moved on.
Well, my son the other day said, I said to him, well, there were 2 other children who were adopted as well that your mum had, and who would they be to you? And he thought about it and said, would they be my brother and sister? And he put his hand to his face and gasped and said, it's just so complicated, isn't it? And he was very upbeat and happy. And then, like you said, very quickly the conversation moved on to something else.
I think as long as they know that you're comfortable talking about it, they'll be comfortable to ask. And
I think as they get a bit older, it's a bit more about testing. Because
are you telling
to see,
me
are you consistent in what you told us? And have you told me the same as you've told her?
Yeah, we get a lot of that.
We get quite a bit of that.
Our son works his way around the family,
Yeah.
and he picks moments to test the stories with the grandparents.
Yeah.
So that's why you've just
always
got
tell the truth.
to be completely honest and age appropriate truth on that then.
Yeah.
So,
I think
Even the bad stuff.
yeah.
When you were just saying then about being comfortable, I remember my social worker saying, like, because you'd get upset going, hearing things and stuff. And she said, although it's hard, you need to be comfortable with their story, because you're going to have to explain it one day. And if you sit there upset and struggling to say it, they're gonna feel that.
They take their cue from you as to how to act sometimes, don't they?
So I think, like, even now at such a young age, and he doesn't have a clue what I'm talking about. He can't. He says the odd words and stuff, but I try and at bedtime I say, we've got a book. It's called All Types of Families, and in there it says some children are adopted, and he now points to himself, and because I say like you, and so he recognises that word at such a young age.
Yeah, because it's not a bad word. It's not
No,
a
it's
good word.
just how our family
chosen. It's about being special, because our kids sort of say that we adopted. Well, yeah, but you get to pick your children, so they feel privileged.
Because we say we chose you out of all the other children out there. We chose you 3 to try and make them feel a bit wanted, a bit needed. I think just because of where we were in life. And
it was you wanted the sibling group.
Yeah, I said, let's be like the Waltons and we'll have about 10.
Yeah.
And then
11. It started off with 11.
And then Claire whittled me down to 3. And we just decided we would go with 3.
And let's have an instant family, because when we were older, we were well enough.
Yeah, because they'd said if you adopt one, you'll have to wait 2 years or something before you can have another one. And I was like, well, it's going to take forever to get to 3 or 4. So I said, we'll have it all in one hit.
Yeah.
And they were like, are you sure? And I said, well, that must be possible. People do it.
Rob, you've now got 2 children from different
birth
families. What's that like?
The magic of introductions was bringing our baby daughter into the family, and it working very, very quickly, because she initially bonded more with our son than with us. And we'd involved him throughout, which I think really worked. I think quite often the sibling who's already in the family is brought in a few days into introductions, but he wasn't. He was there right throughout, and she looked to him, and that gave her the reassurance to settle. We're convinced of that, and now, well, they have what everyone would see as a typical sibling relationship. It is full on, it is energetic, they wind each other up constantly. So it's just been a joy that you can take two children who are not related by blood, but become related by relationship, and it does work, and it's really special.
I don't see, why you worry so much about doing it, because I've got stepbrothers and sisters, and they're not blood, but I love them to bits.
You just refer to them as your brother and sister.
And I think, there's an everyday occurrence with families, isn't it? When parents divorce and get remarried.
I think sometimes we worry about these things.
Those sort of relationships between kids develop anyway, don't they?